Hello there. Welcome to my TED Talk on Moby Dick, based on the movie from 1956. Now, the movie takes place in 1841, where a crew is being put together to go whaling or whale hunting for whale oil, and the captain of them is Ahab. Ahab is a interesting character, saying that he has a bit of a second reason for going on this voyage, and that is to go after Moby Dick. Moby Dick, in this movie, is a mysterious creature, mysterious white whale that, for some reason, so many other sailors and whale hunters have encountered and have even lost limbs to many times. Now, the voyage was originally supposed to take 3 years, according to the movie. Three years. And as we go through their life. We go through how they go whale hunting. We go through how the Moby Dick is important to Captain Ahab. Well, Ahab has a vendetta against Moby Dick because he took his leg. And he really wants to get Moby Dick and be the one to kill it. And it's shown out to be this big thing that it leads up to. We eventually see it at one point, but not in a dangerous way. Well, the movie goes on for quite a while with them hunting Moby Dick and abandoning the whole entire original reason for why they went on the voyage, which brings controversy among the crew. But Ahab has the majority vote of people for saying that he is the one. Or he's the captain. Nobody will make a mutiny against him. And so, as they continue, they find Moby Dick. They hunt it. They end up attacking it, and then all goes wrong. Now, according to the movie, which is different from the original story, everyone but one guy dies. The captain dies by Moby Dick, and then is stuck on the outside of Moby Dick's mouth, bringing the crew together to go and attack it again, resulting in the destruction of their ship and the death of everyone, apart from one guy who survived on a coffin. Now, I feel like this is a good point to step aside and take a few notes about the book before I continue into the rest of the story, because that's where the movie ends. There is no more events that happen after it. It just ends with the one guy on the coffin. But a few things to note. There is a time difference. The movie takes place in 1941, or 1841, roughly around that time. The book came out in 1851. This is a difference. I have not read the book, so I can't say the exact time it says, but this is a difference in when it happened. Now, the book wasn't successful when it came out. It literally sold 4,000 copies, or less than 4,000 copies, in the lifetime of its author, Herman Melville. And it wasn't until later on that it would become popular. But the idea of this book came from a real story, from a real event, which is where I will continue the story. Now, for one, I didn't see any name for the ship in the movie when watching it, but the But the original name of the ship was XS. And there was a different captain, which was Captain George Pollard. Now, this is just a difference. I guess for interest, it was they changed the name. But one thing to note is the real event was not a big whale, it was not a whale that was special. It wasn't even a whale that was originally hunting for humans. It was just a normal sperm whale. and 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 when the events took place inside the year 1819, the real events, it was a series of events of the people were following a bunch of whales for they were whaling or whale hunting for their flax to turn into oil. And this one whale decided to attack. No idea. There is nothing that we know about why it attacked. I guess it was angry. It just decided to attack, and it hit the ship twice. First time, dealing damage that could be repaired, but the second time, it was too late. The ship sunk. But the crew went on this voyage, went into their smaller ships and sailing. Now, they were, as a result of this, they had a few options from where they were going because they were stranded at sea with limited supply and everyone inside ships. So, the first option they could have gone was to some islands that were closer by, and if they gone there, they would have a lot more than would have survived. But they were said to be full of cannibals, and they didn't want to take the risk. So they sailed towards home. And on the way there, they encountered an island. This island, a few of them stopped by, collected supplies, but they were debating about whether they should stay there or not. Some said they had a better chance by continuing to sail. There were a handful that decided to stay on the island. Now, these people I will come back to, because they were the ones that made the smart decision, and they lived. But the people who sailed, they encountered problems after they ran out of supplies. Now, they didn't go killing each other, they didn't just kill each other because they ran out of supplies. But as they died, there was suddenly a supply of meat. And if you put one and two together, that's how they survived for longer than they probably would have if they didn't. Now, there is one thing to point out. One thing about the story is it is sometimes called the heart of the sea. One similarity is what they did to the heart of the people that died, which was they basically used it as a burial and dropped it into the sea. But coincidence, I don't know. That may be the idea of it, may not. But they end up surviving on these ships for 90 days before they were picked up by other travelers. And during that time, people died. It was not a good situation for them. There are many ways that they died. I wouldn't say I'm exactly sure how they all died. Only one of them was shot. And that was when they were down to the final four. And after that, they continued. They were saved. But the captain, George Pollard, was one of the people who survived, and he got a bad reputation after this. He was no longer. He had sailed one other ship after this, and it was not seen as a good thing. He basically had to retire after another bad voyage. But, hey, he survived this tragedy when many did not. Now, this story, how did it affect people? How did this story, when it came out, it didn't affect people very much. It was in the 20th century when it was picked up and people read it and it became the classic that it is. Well, there were debates about the story and some symbolism. There are things like how Moby Dick is seen as this overruling thing that would basically be like the slave owner, and all the people who were suffering because of the actions of this one whale were the slaves. This is a connection that some people came up with. I would not personally say it. Now, some other connections into our class, I would say this is pretty connected to Jaws, because Jaws is seen as a anomaly. It is, at least, there are points when it's seen as anomaly. There are points where it's not seen as anomaly, but Moby Dick is seen as extreme. There's points where it's referenced as a devil, which points it out as different. But this whale is never seen as with human characteristics. It's just a whale. It's seen as violent. It's seen as aggressive. It's seen as very hard to kill, but it is not one of the things that it's not seen as human. Now, I want to thank you for coming and watching this video, and yeah, that's it. Thank you.